gifts from the heart and a path strewn with rose petals. Features of the wedding ceremony and the first wedding night in Japan. Greetings! Today, we will talk about what is the wedding ceremony, as well as the first wedding night of the newlyweds of the land of the rising sun. Is it true that a few years ago, couples were given envelopes with seaweed and even dried cuttlefish? Why the bride must change her white dress for a red one? And what atmosphere reigns at the couple during the first retreat? Be sure to watch the video to the very end, so as not to miss anything important. We promise it will be very interesting and informative. Preparation for an important event in the life of newlyweds. Many of you know that Japan is first of all a country of numerous traditions. The wedding ceremony, marriage ceremony, and wedding night are no exception in this respect. Moreover, it is an important event in the life of the bride and groom. That's why it is first necessary to prepare for such a great celebration. And here's how everything happens in reality. Traditionally, the first step is to invite family, relatives, and friends. In Japan, guests must be informed several months before the wedding. After the invitation, it is necessary to wait for feedback from the person. Then comes the preparation of the place for the future wedding ceremony. Renting a room, banquet hall, transportation, car, as well as drawing up a menu of dishes. You will be surprised, but the preparatory process lasts at least half a year, if not more. The Japanese are extremely prudent and competent in this matter. It all comes down to not missing anything important, to send invitations to all guests, as well as to take care of the positive mood of future spouses. Engagement procedure. Do you want to know how exactly a Japanese couple gets engaged and what gifts are common in the country? Well, let's explain in more detail. First, a young man must present a ring to his life partner, and the girl is simply obliged to reciprocate. Secondly, it is customary in Japan that relatives of future newlyweds present envelopes to each other. Actually, this tradition is widespread practically in all countries of the world. This is how the first acquaintance of the parents of newlyweds takes place. But the land of the rising sun in this regard is quite specific, and all because in the past, those envelopes were mostly symbols of happiness. When opening a paper envelope, the Japanese could easily find a fan, plants, for example seaweed, and even dried cuttlefish. Today, envelopes are used to put money for the wedding, notes with wishes, as well as a list of honored guests. Wedding attire of the newlyweds, and of course, where without a smart wedding suit? The Japanese pay special attention to this issue. Wedding attire of the young couple should look harmonious and magnificent. The inhabitants of the land of the rising sun mainly follow the principles of traditional Shinto wedding. In accordance with its peculiarities, the wedding attire of the newlyweds looks as follows. Men's cape haori black color, decorated with family crests. Following it are pants in a narrow stripe. As you have already guessed, it is such a wedding costume is intended for a young man. As for the girl, she has selected not only a wedding dress, but also a special cap on her head. Most likely you have noticed that female representatives of the female sex in Japan often have a fan. So, this indispensable attribute is also present in the hands of the Japanese bride. Fan symbolizes happiness and prosperity. Did you know that in the land of the rising sun, there are several types of wedding dresses? In fact, it is exactly the same kimono, only in different color shades: white, black, and colorful kimono. In most cases, girls prefer a white outfit. The country also has a special wedding ritual. The bride changes her clothes and wears a red dress instead of a white one. This happens after the wedding and is connected with the symbolism of these colors. If white is a symbol of purity and indicates the purity of the bride, then red is a sign of marriage and the acquisition of a new status. Henceforth, before us is a married lady who enters into an independent life. Japanese wedding ceremony. And here we come to the most important thing. Let's find out how the wedding ceremony is held at the newlyweds. for which they have been preparing for months. The wedding of the bride and groom begins early in the morning. First, the couple visits the temple, where the purification procedure takes place. From this point on, the future spouses give their full consent to be together. The next stage is called Sansankudo. Its essence is the exchange of 3 cups between the newlyweds. The traditional Japanese drink sake is poured into the cups. First, there is a touch of lips to all cups exactly 2 times. And then the newlyweds sip a little sake. All these actions are aimed at the young family not to break up and live in love and harmony. Interesting fact, inside the temple, only relatives and close people are allowed to be present. Others wait outside it. At the end of the wedding ceremony, branches of the sacred sakaki tree are laid. Afterward, everyone gathers and heads to the banquet. Wedding celebration. Now that everyone is gathered in one room, the wedding celebration begins. The bride and groom accept congratulations and gifts. According to the established tradition, money is given, as well as special checks. All of them are in paper envelopes, and after handing them over, they are recorded in a book, something like an account. Newlyweds also do not leave visitors without attention and gifts. These are mostly the usual bonbonniere, but also other valuable things. It all depends on how much the future spouses can afford financially. In the process of the celebration, each guest takes a specific place. To avoid confusion, all places are initially marked with the names of those present in the hall. The first toast is made by the person who has the highest rank among the others. After a moment in the banquet hall, turn on the music. The Japanese are most fond of performing karaoke. Toward the end of the banquet, the newlyweds cut the wedding cake together. The total duration of the wedding celebration in the hall takes about 3.5 hours. But the celebration does not end there either. The couple's friends also throw a party. First wedding night. The privacy of the couple after the wedding ceremony is also a special custom of Japanese culture. The first wedding night of the couple begins with the fact that they seclude themselves in a special house. The atmosphere is simply divine. Rose petals, which are sprinkled on the path, the romantic atmosphere inside the room, the groom's courtship of his bride. When there are no other strangers, the Japanese bride shows her tenderness and vulnerability. The groom, in turn, shows concern for his girlfriend. The man thus shows that he is able to protect his wife in the most difficult moment. It is also important that at the moment of seclusion, the couple must necessarily feed each other and also give valuable gifts. The Japanese give anything, but again, depending on the available financial opportunities. After the completion of the first wedding night, spouses, as a rule, go on a honeymoon. For this purpose, they choose unusual and mesmerizing places.